Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of First Impressions on the Scratch Attack podcast presented by the Dude and Grim Show and co-produced by Mr. IVEST. I am the Dude.
And I'm Grim. And today we are going to discuss Homogenic, the third studio album by Bjork.
Oh, yes, we are. And for those of you who are new here, we did an episode on her second album, Post, earlier this year, and we got a lot of good feedback. I think in the episode, we asked people, like,
where should we go?
Where do we go from here? What album do we listen to next? And I think the overwhelming response was this album.
And I'm glad it was. Honestly, I'm pretty sure after my experiences with Post, this is where I would have gone anyways. But for those of you who did make that recommendation, thank you, because it was a very good one. And I don't know how this is going to grab you, maybe by the lapels. But dude, I got to say, I like this album better than Post.
Whoa. So I'm not willing to admit that yet. I'm not there yet. My initial first impression, which is what it is. Yeah. Initially, it was my first impression. It's actually still my first impression. I was a little underwhelmed by it. And I'm going to go ahead and sort of do a comparison, which I think is probably somewhat fair. And it's, again, one of our favorite bands. I liken it to the OK Computer Kid A transition. Whereas I feel like Post was just this kind of album that was all over the place, lots of stuff going on. Really, really loved it. And then this was a little more subdued, I think a little more in the same vein, as just all the songs kind of fit together, maybe a little better. And I certainly, I wasn't expecting that. And so I think it just caught me off guard a little bit. I think it definitely deserves, and I will give it many more deeper listens. I feel like it requires a little more attention than Posted.
Agreed. So you're saying it's Kid A?
I would liken it to that, sure.
So
if you had to compare her albums, it's her Kid A.
Fair comparison, but my question is,
I'm not saying it's as good as Kid A. I'm just saying
I know what you're saying, but what I'm about to ask you is, as the years have gone on, what is your favorite Radiohead album then?
OK Computer.
Oh, still okay. Still, that's fair.
Yep. It is, and I think that's one of the things.
The same thing will be said about Post. Like you'll probably get the special edition of Homogenic and probably on vinyl. Sure. And when she releases Post and Homogenic-iac,
I will be getting that, with the 36-page color booklet, coffee table book.
Just different versions of the cover, which is a little odd. I do like the cover, but it's like she kind of makes herself almost look like a gnome, which is interesting because the picture on the front of Post seems more just like an honest, natural picture of her, and this is very much like a costume or a character.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who photographed the cover for this, because I believe Stefan Sednui did the Post cover. He's done a bunch of her music videos. I think they were even kind of in a relationship for a while. She's also done videos with Gondry.
I was going to say, didn't Gondry do Bachelorette? Yeah,
he did. And that's what, again, great video. If you haven't seen the video out there, I mean, I imagine a lot of people have.
It is really, I was going to bring something up about that video, because I thought the video was really cool. It was almost like a movie.
Dude, it is. I mean, it's kind of like Inception, man. It's like a story. It's the same story being told multiple times over and over. It's like the game Telephone, where you like tell somebody something and then, it keeps getting told. And it's just like each story is like watching itself. It's very trippy video.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like, I guess to me, when I listened to this album, there weren't these songs that stood out or that were maybe as bold as some of the songs on Post. Like there's no Army of Me, like It's Oh So Quiet or Isabel. I just felt like the album was really good. It's just maybe a little more contained and kind of, it goes down the same path where I felt like Post is all over the place.
It does. But I think the path is so trippy. Like there is a really interesting thing that happens when you do things that have these deep, lush string sounds, and then you just put some beats. And it's not even like she just went up to a drum machine here and did a simple like 16-step beat. I mean, they're kind of complex and they're very trippy. Now, another comparison that I have to draw to Radiohead, which I'm thinking is probably the other way around, but when I hear the opening track, which is Hunter, dude, the way the drums are, and especially those snares, it reminds me of Bloom.
Okay, that's because there was there was one song that it reminded me of, and I was lazy and I didn't like go through the whole Radiohead catalog.
Oh, I didn't have to. As soon as I heard that, it just I was like, oh my god, there's something. But in all reality, it's probably more likely that Bloom was influenced by this.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. We've also done a Kid A episode, so everyone should go ahead and check that out.
And
after you go ahead and like and subscribe below on the Dude and Grim Show. But Tom York said that he was heavily influenced by Bjork. And now this album came out in 97, same time-ish as OK Computer. So I'm sure OK Computer came out. They're on tour. He's listening to this album a lot.
And he's like, damn.
I'm not just like this album was hugely influenced Kid A. And there's even, I forget what song it is on the album, but there's these little background sounds and stuff going on in one of the songs. And it's so much of it sounds like some of the weird little noises you hear in the back of the song Kid A.
Oh, wow.
It's got those weird little noises and sounds. And I'm like, wow, that I just, they're again, very different, but I hear influence back and forth. And so it's, it was just really cool to,
it's like talking about the Beach Boys and the Beatles, really.
Exactly. Yeah. They were actually supposed to tour together.
Oh, that would have been cool.
On the OK Computer tour, apparently, but her her stage setup was so elaborate that they actually couldn't break hers down and set up Radiohead's up quick enough. So they canceled that. They decided not to do it together.
Wow.
It's like, man, it's kind of a bummer that's what kind of held things up. But
well, yeah, but it does say something about just the equal complexity of both, both artists. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But, again, this isn't, this, I feel like this episode has turned into like a Radiohead Bjork, Homogenic Kid A comparison, but they're pretty obvious to me. And, this album has a very dark feel, lots of beats and strings, very subdued.
The way the beats sound in the song, all neon like, ooh, it's like, really it has hints of the Nintendo Entertainment System sound.
Oh, yeah.
Which Christmas '85 release. Dude. I made some notes, and then I didn't realize, but dude, there's a cover on this album. She covers 5 Years by David Bowie.
Is it really a cover? No. It's just
Come on,
I was like, wait a minute.
I had to.
Because I was like, I don't know another song named 5 Years.
She really made that one her own.
Which some people do.
Yeah. So much so that she didn't even credit Bowie in the writing.
Yeah. I can't believe there hasn't been a lawsuit, but I guess they haven't really, I guess the Bowie estate hasn't found any similarities yet. So.
Yeah, but if thanks to the fans, but if songs of the same name were still a thing, you can bet that these two would be going up against each other.
Yeah. So I think overall what I can say is, as of now, yes, I prefer Post, but I can tell that this album is going to require a much more deeper dive and a lot more focus than I think than Post. I feel like the songs on Post are maybe a little more accessible. So this one, I'm excited to check it out more, and definitely give it some more listens.
Yeah, I was really, really into it. I think this is Bjork's Sleeper Cell. You know, like when you think everything's cool, it's going to sneak right up on you.
Right up on you.
But I don't know. So, I've never, I can't say that I'm like the hugest aficionado for electronic music. But I do like some of it. But this just took it in a direction that I didn't expect. I didn't see. In some ways, maybe didn't even know it was possible. And that's what I think is the hallmark of like a truly good artist and a truly good album. And even though, and dude, totally get your point, or just regarding your preference, but I like the fact that it is sort of has a consistency to it, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. Yeah, that's kind of my thing.
There may be an album,
even though it's out there. It's consistently out there.
There may be an album coming up, which that we're going to talk about, that was described by a critic as an album's album because of this sound. It's like, think about Graceland, dude. Graceland has different songs, but there is such a consistency between it at the same time. And I feel that way about this nice work.
Absolutely.
And I found out who did the picture.
Oh, who did the picture?
The picture, Deuterino, was done by a gentleman who goes by the name of Alexander McQueen. And he was a close friend.
That's good.
And he also directed one of 2 music videos for Alarm Call.
Okay. All right. I have yet to check that video out, but I should probably check it out.
He looks like a real nice guy in the photo.
All right. You can only hope for the best then. Well, Graham, I think we should definitely ask people after this album, do we just keep going in chronological order? Is there an album we should jump to?
Yeah.
What's the next steps, people?
That's a good question. And I usually like to look at the chronology, but usually the studio album one. I mean, no offense to, other stuff that people do, but I like to go that route first and then go from there.
Then go to the EPs and the B-sides.
Vespertine would be next.
Ooh.
And that's from 2001, so you got a 4-year break. But these ones are pretty close. And one thing I think is we didn't really touch on here with some of the other things about recording this, because there was that weird murder attempt of Bjork during like the Post era. So I think because of that, in touring extensively, it sounds like that she pretty much like holed up in her place, and she would allow her the producer to come over. I believe Marcus Draves. Draves. Yeah, he did some stuff, and they worked on stuff. And then she ended up going to Spain. I forget. Yeah. Who was it? I don't know if it was like a studio drummer or somebody that she knew said, hey, go here. You can use my studio. And I think she was only going to record like a song or 2 there and ended up doing the whole album or something. Because it sounded like just in the beginning, she would she had a small studio in her house, and it said that she would allow him to come over and they would work on songs, and she would only leave the studio to cook the 2 of them food and then go right back into it. But I can imagine dude, what a crazy world tour and a strange attempt on your life by a psychopath might do to one, to force that sort of like inward behavior after all that,
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but seems like the end product that she was able to create maybe out of those feelings, emotions, and that seclusion, definitely maybe contributed to this album, and it ended up being a really good, product.
Final question.
Yeah.
Her hair on the cover.
Not for me.
Is it really her hair?
Probably some of it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if those are like vacuum hoses curled up or car tires. It's big.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty long. I don't know. I doubt it. If anyone knows out there, please let us know, because that's the burning question here on this episode.
It is. And then she's got the neck things going, like, the tribes that like make their necks grow real.
I do.
Interesting picture. I mean, it's one of those things where you'd almost like brush it off when you first see it, but then the more you look at it, you're like, it doesn't seem like there should be, but there's a lot. It's like Amagama, right? Like, how many times is that picture within the picture? Like, you can't,
just keeps going.
Do you get a magnifying glass and just count, or what? I don't know.
It's hard to say. Well, now that we've run off the rails.
Dude, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Great song. Let's do some Stained. All right. On that note, as grim Grimace is.
Good way to end it.
The grimace of grim. All right, folks. Let us know. Next Bjork album to listen to. Time to go.
The Dude. Grim Show.
And Grim Show.
Scratch the Track is produced by The Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021. The Dude and Grim Show.